Hello Year 10 and welcome to Remote Learning Task 12, Part 1. Now this remote learning task will be divided into two parts. We'll be considering what life was like for children in Nazi Germany and what life was like for German women. Now the Nazis believed that all parts of society should benefit the German state. Hitler wanted to create the Thousand-Year Reich. I would note this down. This was a Nazi state that would last a very long time. And Nazi policies towards women or the young were not meant to be what was best for them. They were aimed to strengthen Germany and the Nazi Party in the future. So I just wanted to draw your attention to the support document that will be attached on Go for Schools. This is to help you complete the activities, either working through the PowerPoint or watching the video. It is a support document. It is not to substitute opening the PowerPoint or perhaps watching the video. So this is just to give you a flavour of how it's broken down. Obviously only use this if you really feel like you need to. So for part 1, your title is How Effective Were Nazi Policies Towards Women? So pause the video and write that down. Now the Nazis believed that women should adopt the traditional role of mother and housewife, while the man provided for the family. Hitler portrayed the role of women as equally as important as that of German men. Although their role was different, it was still important. Now Gertrude Schultz-Klink. You don't necessarily have to take lots of notes on this particular slide, but it's just to contextualise women's organisations. Now, she was appointed Reich Women's Leader to oversee policies relating to women. She wanted to make German women servants of the state and Hitler. She forced all other women's organisations to merge into this new Nazi organisation, the German Women's Enterprise. If they refused, they were banned, so eventually their membership was 6 million members. They used this organisation to spread their ideas about women. For example, by 1939, 1.7 million had attended Nazi courses on childcare, cooking and sewing. So if you want to take some notes on that, you can pause the video, but like I said, you don't need all of it, just a couple of points. Task 1. So the next few slides will help you complete these tasks. Remember, there is the support document if you need some more guidance, but I would like you to list 3 Nazi beliefs about marriage and the family. For each Nazi belief you have written down, I would like you to note down the policy that was put in practice to help this belief become a reality. So for example, they want to encourage marriage. What is the policy that they introduced to encourage marriage? So these are your beliefs. Now, the birth rate was falling in Germany and the Nazis were concerned. Fewer children meant fewer German workers and soldiers later on for the Thousand-Year Reich. As a result, the Nazis made several changes to the law to encourage marriage, motherhood and childbirth. This is because the Nazis believed that women should have as many children as possible. They believed women should devote their lives to feeding and rearing the family. And the Nazis stressed the importance of housecraft, skills like needlework and cookery. So you might want to note down their beliefs, because the next slide is going to show you how they put those beliefs into a reality. So the law for the encouragement of marriage. Now these were loans offered to young couples to get them to settle down and marry. It also encouraged later on women to have children, because for every child you had, a quarter of the loan was written off. The loans are about 8 months' wages, so it's pretty significant. Divorce laws, allowing men to file for divorce if their wife would not or could not have children, or if she had an abortion. Mother's Cross was a medal given to women to award them according to the number of children they had. Hitler Youth were also encouraged to salute the wearers of gold medals because they had 8 children. If you had 10 children, you were expected to name Hitler as the godfather of the 10th child, and if it was a boy, you had to name him Adolf. Lebensborn, fountain of life. Now this was primarily focused on not just childbirth, but the creation of genetically pure children from worthy German families. Now, it was created by Heinrich Himmler, who was head of the SS, and he provided nurseries and financial aid for women who had children with SS men. Sorry, there's a spelling mistake there. There we go, that's better. So essentially this was to encourage genetically pure children. One Lebensborn home alone helped over 540 mothers give birth. So that's the sort of statistic you might want to be noting down. So you can pause this part of the video to take some notes. So hopefully now you're able to list 3 Nazi beliefs about marriage, and then for each Nazi belief match the policy which helped that aim or idea come into practice. Feel free to rewind the video or look at the support document if you need a little bit more help. Task 2. So answer these questions in full sentences with examples from slides 10 to 12. So by full sentences I mean for this question you'll say something like, the Nazi ideas, beliefs about women regarding work were, or the Nazis ensured women followed these ideas by. So you're just using this the question to lead it. So the Nazis wanted to reduce the number of women in work, as they believed a woman's place was in the home, raising a family, and she shouldn't take work away from men that needed jobs. One way the Nazis reduced the number of women in work was through propaganda. They tried to persuade women to behave differently. Nazi posters showed women as wives and mothers, and Nazi speeches encouraged women to leave work and become housewives. They told women to concentrate on the 3 Ks, Kinder, Küche and Kirche, children, kitchen and the church. So I would note that down. So the policies that were introduced to help achieve their aims were as follows. So I'd pause the video so you can get the detail, but just quickly, they were banned from becoming teachers, doctors and civil servants, prevented from becoming judges or lawyers, schoolgirls trained for motherhood and housework, the grammar schools which prepared girls for university were banned, and the numbers of female students entering higher education dramatically fell. So I'd pause that so you can get as much detail as possible to note down. Now, the Nazis never forced women to look a certain way through law. However, propaganda did, because it showed women with hair tied back in plaits or a bun. They would wear modest, plain clothes. That meant they had a lot of skin covered. They were discouraged from dyeing their hair or wearing makeup. It was a very natural look, so as you can see here. So, what were their ideas regarding women and work? How did they ensure women followed that? In other words, what policies were introduced? And what were their ideas about appearance? Feel free to go back to answer these questions in full sentences. So how effective were Nazi policies? They had a mixed success. Some German women were persuaded and were content to accept the policies. After all, they were getting money and benefits from it. Nazi policies towards women did have the effect the Nazis desired to an extent, because less were going to university and the birth rate increased, and unemployment amongst German men fell. However, many women didn't support Nazi ideas, and some women believed that Nazi ideas harmed the family because they degraded women and made it seem like they should be a servant. Some women didn't like the Reich's women's leader, Gertrude Scholz-Klink, and others felt that the domestic status of women was demeaning. So you can make some notes here to allow you to answer this question. Thank you for listening to part 1 of Remote Learning Task 12. There will be another video for part 2, which is on youth groups. Well done Year 10, you have completed part 1 of Remote Learning Task 12. Don't forget to submit your work on Microsoft Teams